What it is, y'all, it's your old boy Pilk, and I think we need to talk about Greninja a little bit. If you guys haven't, here, we'll pull him out here real quick. So the Raid Greninja, on paper, looks really good with one major exception, and I don't know if anybody's really noticed this yet. Let's go here into his summary and take a look. Now, this is the Raid Greninja, water type, water dark type, obviously with a poison Tera. Best stats all the way around. Even if we go actually here into the main summary, the ability protein is there, just like we predicted. In fact, I even talked about the Pokemon Home Mon that we acquired. Unfortunately, that video did kind of get taken down. But protein is exactly what we expected him to have. He's got all that. He's got all the moves we expected. Here's the big problem. And I don't know if anybody's really paid a huge attention to this. The nature of Greninja is sassy. That means that this Greninja has special defense up, but speed down. And this is a speedy Mon. This is a really fast Mon. I really feel like doing that is a major disservice to Greninja. This is such a terrible, terrible thing. So notice that Greninja's special attack is also way up there. Greninja's special attack at 242 is extremely high. Speed's even higher, and that's with the deficit. So it's like taking a special attacker like Greninja and giving him a special attack deficit. Now, there is a build that you could do that with. There's a potential for PvP where building a physical attacking Greninja or even Charizard, as we've seen before, can kind of throw your opponent off. That is a tactic. But as far as the vast majority of players, this is a huge mistake. So we need to talk about how to fix this. But this repair does come at a certain number of costs. So let's talk natures, then we'll talk abilities, and then we'll talk about the cost, shall we? So, getting into this, nature-wise. So, this Greninja, the Pokemon Home Greninja, I will say, these were leaked. They've been out there. I threatened to drop a video on them, but with the recent takedown, I didn't really feel like it was going to do well. So I haven't made that video yet. If you guys want to see it, let me know in the comments down below. But this Greninja has a modest nature. This Greninja is special attack up, physical attack down, and that's pretty much where you want to be. Now, there are some natures that are just flat out neutral. There are some natures where you can absolutely just not mess with the stats. And that, there's a tactic to that. But really, because he is a special attacker, you really do kind of want special attack up. Now, worth noting here, I have not messed with the EVs at all. Yes, he's got a few EVs from fighting some random Mon. But largely, there's not a lot of EVs on Greninja here. So, in fact, notice there's physical attack EVs, so I'd have to go and actually remove that. Go check out the video on EVs to really understand how that works. But largely, special attack up, and we want to basically focus on special attack with this Mon. So physical attack down is not a bad thing. Let's look at my shiny Greninja. And that's right, I did actually manage a shiny Greninja. Came in my second egg set. I am so excited. Here's the problem. This Greninja dropped with a mild nature. Now that does mean special attack up, which is phenomenal. The problem is that means physical defense is down, and I really don't want physical defense down. I really don't like that idea, because anytime I go into a physical defensive situation, his defense is already pretty low. I just don't think I like the idea of going in there with that kind of a deficit. Personally, for me, I'd rather have physical attack down. Now, there is a way to fix this, and it's really simple. Okay? If we go over here to the bag, and we go to our candies, and I'm going to go down here and find our mints. Now, if you've never done this before, all of these mints will actually change the nature's effect, and that's a very important qualification there. It'll change the effect of that nature. So, let's go up here and look at these. So, Lonely Mint will give us physical attack, however, your defense may suffer. Adamant Mint will give you physical attack, but your special attack will suffer. Literally the opposite of what we want. Adamant Mint is what we actually have on Cinderace. Naughty Mint Physical attack up, special defense down. That actually works really well with a lot of those mon, but really adamant would be better. Brave is physical attack up, speed down. We definitely don't want that. We don't want to lose speed. If we go over here, these dark blue ones are defense. Here we go into the light blue ones, modest and mild. Now, mild's what's already on this mon. If I use a modest mint, that means my special attack will go up, my physical attack will go down. So let's go ahead and use this item and show you how this works. So this third one here is my shiny Greninja. Okay? So notice this here. It might affect your Greninja stats. Are you sure you want to use it? Yes. Read this carefully. Greninja stats may change due to the effects of the modest mint. Notice it doesn't say he's going to get that nature. So if I actually go over here, he's still mild by nature. But mild would be special attack up, defense down. Now we're special attack up, attack down. So the mints will give you the effects of the nature you want. But the Pokemon's nature doesn't change. Why is this a big deal? Well, very simply put, if you're building mons for breeding, and if you actually go back over here, let's go back out here for a moment. You'll notice that there's an Everstone on my Pokemon Home Greninja. And the reason for that is because this mon was built basically perfectly. An Everstone makes sure that the ability stays put and that the nature stays put. Those two are immovable objects, right? Once you have the Everstone on there, they stick. So any mon that I actually bred with that Pokemon Home Greninja will actually keep those stats. Now, the question becomes, why did I not use the Pokemon Home Greninja, and why did I use the Raid Greninja? And the honest answer is simply aesthetics. Real talk. My Raid Greninja is in a whole different Pokeball. I don't even think it shows you the Pokeball here. I think I have to go into the boxes to see that. Here we go. So, this Greninja, let's go into summer here. No? Does it not show you? It should show you which ball it's in. Here we go. It does say up top. Okay, so this Greninja's in a timer ball. Why? Because it took forever for me to get him. I know it doesn't matter, but I like putting these units into special Pokeballs, because if I breed them later and I pass them out, I want people to know that's mine. I know it's a weird thing, but it's just my aesthetic. So, that Greninja's in a timer ball, and my shiny Greninja is now in a timer ball. That's just the crazy thing I do. I put all my Charizards in dive balls. In fact, you notice all these Charizards over here in dive balls. I put all my Cinderaces in dusk balls. I just try to pick a ball that either doesn't make sense or makes too much sense, you know? It's just a thing, right? Nobody's putting a Greninja in a timer ball. It's just ridiculous. I'm probably the only person that did that, or one of very few. So, my Pokemon Home Greninja, I didn't have a choice. Those kind of came for Pokemon Home in regular Pokeballs, and I didn't really want that. So that mon is just going to kind of go into the collection and just kind of sit and collect dust now. My shiny is what it's going to be all about going forward. But, once again, mild nature, though we did just fix the effects of that. However, if I go to breed this Pokemon, even with the Everstone on there, simply put, that mild nature will be transferred over. So it's really not a good answer. What you're going to want to do, and let me go down here to my, past all my, I still haven't passed all those guys out. I really need to. Here's my Froakie box, okay? So you notice that all my natures kind of all over the place, right? I do have a modest nature here that's very nice, but special attack is kind of not great on this one. Which kind of brings me to my next point. If you'll notice, and let me go ahead and jump over here to this page, that my Ditto actually has a Destiny Knot. And actually, I just want to say, I don't know how I got so lucky. This Ditto I got in a Wonder Trade, and it is perfect IVs. Look at that. It's nutty. I got lucky. I literally got a Japanese shiny Masuda Ditto in a Wonder Trade with perfect IVs. I don't know how I managed that. But I've gotten crazier stuff in Wonder Trade. So no, I tell you, I've never gotten anything crazier than this, but I've gotten some shinies and some weird stuff in Wonder Trades. So what I did is I put a Destiny Knot on Ditto over there, and that Ditto will now, with the Destiny Knot, will now take 5 of the IVs, 5 of these stats from either him or whoever we're breeding with. Notice once again, we're using Greninjas with best stats. It'll pick 5 stats at random. So there's a pool of 6 here, a pool of 6 here, and let's say, he's going to pick a speed stat from himself. But then we get like a special attack stat from this Greninja, and then we get a defense stat back from Ditto, and an attack stat from this Greninja, and so on and so forth. It's all totally random. But that 5th stat, even with the Destiny Knot, that 5th stat will always be random. So the honest goal here, at least for me, is if we go back to my... sorry, let me go out there. If we go back to my Charizard box, I did a whole video on breeding and why I do this, but the simple answer is I like to have 5 Mon that all have perfect IVs. Check this out. Best, 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 best. And they're all exactly the same. They all have the same nature. They all have the same ability. Because once again, we used the Everstone to make sure those abilities and those natures came over. Real simply put. The problem that you're going to have is with Greninja. When you are breeding this Greninja, if you put an Everstone on him, you're going to have that sassy nature. Now, you will, thankfully, be able to keep the protein on there. You'll be able to keep protein as the ability, but you're also going to have the sassy nature. So really, if you're breeding Greninja for like optimum stats, what you really want to do is do like I did. Make a Froakie bin and then breed up Froakies. So I've got a whole box here, and trust me, I've done 2 whole egg sets, which I hate to admit isn't much. I mean, look how many Charmanders I've got. So, literally thousands of them. And I've given tons of them away, too. So, all these Froakies are going to have a different nature. All these Froakies have one random stat. The holy grail here is to get a Froakie with 6 IVs, 6 of those stats, and the modest nature. So here's all my Froakies with the modest nature, but notice they all have 5 stats. I got one in 2 egg sets, which is really rare. Usually you get like 2 or 3, that has all these IVs, but it is a hasty nature. Now, the good news is, if I wanted to build a speed Greninja, I'm going to keep this Froakie around, because a speed Greninja would be nice. Defense down isn't the greatest thing ever, but with speed, you're really not looking at your defense as much. You're looking to just crush your opponent with raw, unadulterated, just speed, pretty much. So this haste nature could come in handy. So what I would do is, if I wanted to breed a speed Greninja, I would actually put an Everstone on this Froakie and breed it out, and it would get that hasty nature. Now, I don't know what, and I actually have never checked, to be honest, what ability he has. Let's go over here and find out. So Torrent is the ability. That comes into the other major problem here, is those abilities are randomly dealt out. So if we go back over to the other Froakie box, let's see what abilities we've actually got here. So, we have... Oh, this one's got Protein. This one's got Torrent, Protein. A lot of Proteins, Torrent. Protein's the hidden ability, so I'm surprised to see so many Torrents here. Or so many Proteins here. But, you know, that's the thing. So we got tons of Proteins. Protein is the hidden ability. Protein's the best one. Protein's the one you really want to have. So it's shocking to see that. In fact, my shiny Greninja did get Protein, but completely by chance. Like, that didn't necessarily need to be a thing. Now, the good news is, unlike Mints, that ability can be completely changed. That is a hard change. So say, for the sake of argument, I hate to do this, but I'm going to do it anyway. Let's just move this Froakie over here onto the team. And let's just say, for the sake of argument, I wanted to change his ability. So I'm going to go over here, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to hate life if I do it, but I'll show you up to, and I'm not actually going to complete it because it would be such a horrendous waste of the item. But if I was actually like trying to, let's just do this by name. Come on. If I was actually trying to breed this guy out, it would be worthwhile doing this. What I can do is I can grab an ability patch. Now, ability capsule will randomly change the ability, but notice that they don't have a secondary ability, so that it's always going to be torrent if I use an ability capsule. If I use an ability patch, that Froakie, let's go ahead and see if I can do it without wasting an ability patch. I don't think I'm going to have a choice. Do you want to change Froakie's ability? So this would automatically give Froakie the protein ability. Screw it, I'm going to do it. Froakie's ability changed. Froakie is now has protein. So, let's go back out here. So this is a breedable, completely breedable Froakie now. I could actually tie a... I could actually now put an Everstone on it. It's going to have protein. It's going to have a hasty ability, which is good for speed. And it's got 6 IVs. Here's the thing, and let me kind of once more dump this on you. If I'm actually breeding this Ditto here, remember, like I said, it picks the stats at random. It's actually easier to go back in here and see the actual bests, because that's really what we're looking for. So all 6 best, all 6 best. I'll get to that here in a minute. All 6 best, all 6 best. If I was going to breed my my shiny, that means that it could pick that HP stat. And oftentimes you'll see that if you breed a Mon with 5 IVs, you're going to wind up with a ton of Mon that have 4 IVs. Why? Because it picked a handful of stats from here and a handful of stats from here, and it just so happened to select that HP stat as the one it wanted to breed. And then it gives a random stat to, your other Pokemon. That means that there's a high likelihood that whatever's bred from these two would wind up being 4 IV. So literally we're moving backwards. Now, there is a fix for this. It's not the end of the world. And in fact, my Greninja needs it desperately. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fly to the Hyper Trainer. And this is definitely something I need to do anyway. So I'm going to show you all how to do this. If we go over here, go to this town. Okay. Whenever it decides to load. And I covered this the other day on the other video too, but I'm just going to cover it more time because I need to do it to my Greninja. Okay. Notice he'll say, Hyper Training, get it here. Let's go. So let's go ahead and Hyper Train up my shiny Greninja, shall we? So we grab shiny Greninja, and the only thing we can Hyper Train is that decent stat. The only thing we can Hyper Train is HP. So select. I have 10 bottle caps. That's fine. There are gold bottle caps, which will give all of these stats level 10, but I still think that has the problem that I'm going to show you here in a moment. So notice, all these have crowns, so that means I can't do that. The only thing I can do is HP. So we'll start the training, and that's going to force feed the best stat into that Mon. That means all my IVs, all of my base stats, are going to be top-notch. So, if we go back out here, go back to the box, you'll see best, Hyper Trained. Very important you notice the difference. While the stat is top-notch, the actual number you'll receive is the best of the best. Let's see if we can go out here to the summary and get his actual numerical value. Okay. 274, that's the best you can get at level 96. I could probably get a little bit higher, but I mean, 288 is this one, and 285 is that one. So, it's up there. And this one probably has some EVs, so it's really not that surprising. So we have the best stat we can get here. Absolutely, end of story. But it will still not breed over. What it's going to do is it's going to take the original stat. So even Hyper Training, it will come up here and it'll grab that decent stat. So Hyper Training is still not a solution. If you really want to breed the perfect Pokemon, which is a lot of people's desire here, you really just have to once again go in here and breed a 6 IV Froakie with the right nature. Now, thankfully, you can change the ability, but you got to get that nature right. You got to get 6 IVs, and it is going to take you a while. Hopefully, this makes sense to you guys. It's a tough thing to wrap your mind around. Now, here's the deal, though. My Greninja here dropped with the wrong thing, and I hyper-trained it up. So having 5 IVs was not the end of the world. I just used a bottle cap, which you could farm from a lot of 6-star and 7-star raids. I don't think you get them from 5 stars, but I know 6-star raids you can get them pretty regularly. And that hyper training now means that he's got the best stats. So once I do some EV training, he'll be top notch and he'll be ready to go. We changed the nature effects to modest, though he still has the mild nature. So for all intents and purposes going in battle, he'll be exactly what we want. He just won't be what we want for breeding, and that means that while this Greninja will be my battle Greninja, if I ever have to go back and breed, I'm using this guy, or I'm really looking to breed a Froakie that has modest nature and 6 IVs, which would mean doing more and more and more stones, even though I've already got my shiny. So if you guys are shiny hunting, and if your goal is to get a perfect IV, keep that in mind. You may want to go try to get a Froakie that has 6 IVs, modest nature. You can always get ability patches. You can always change to protein. It's not that big of a deal. But the other stuff can make a difference. Now, if you don't care, that's on you. It's a ton of work. A ton of work. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I got lucky. I got stupid lucky. My second set of eggs, I had the shiny in there, and he's already got, really nice stats. So do bear that in mind. And I want to emphasize, when I was doing my breeding, I was breeding this Greninja with no Everstone. Just Ditto with the Destiny Knot. So that would be my recommendation. Honestly, if you're looking to breed a whole bunch of them, if you're looking to get the best of the best of the best, do your best you can. Try to breed a Froakie. Now, once you have that Froakie, that's great. That's perfect. Put an Everstone on him, and you can go ham. But don't be shocked if it takes you a while to get there. That's the unfortunate reality. Let me know what you guys thought of this video. Like, comment, share. If it was confusing, let me know. Maybe I can clarify it. Whatever. I know it's a lot of data to absorb. But I'll catch you guys on the next Pokemon Scarlet and Violet video.